All right, everybody. This is Chris Wilmuth with the Pulling Around Show. I'm here with my partner, Sean King, and we got a good one for you today. Today, we are here with the owner and the creator of Brutal Game Gear. Heather, thanks for joining us.
Hi, everybody.
It's
Thanks for
always
having me.
it's always a pleasure to visit with you. I call her my second wife.
Yeah, and I've spent time with you away from the tournaments. I've had dinner with your family, your whole family, the big family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Sean, I've met his dad, Sean, Stephen King, but not that Stephen King.
Uh-huh.
Tell
I
him
would
I
say
said
you've been an aunt on the road
hi.
to me.
Yeah, yeah, but I
Obviously,
know
you couldn't say no when we asked for the interview. That's why we asked.
I would never say no.
she
And
promised us the first.
congratulations on getting married, by the way.
Thank you.
She
Thank you. I've yet to run 10 balls in a row since last Saturday. So
Well, take some time off from running balls, go have fun, and then go back to it later.
yeah. Well, shout out to her. She's probably the most easygoing, tolerant
I
person.
was going to say the word for that is tolerant.
And she is a control freak. Don't get me wrong. She's a nerd. She's a total nerd. She's a scientist. So
I love
she's
nerds.
yeah. So she's the perfect complement to me. Like she
Yeah, I come
knows
from a
stuff
long line of
down.
nerds.
She's super professional. Um, you know, I'll talk more about her later, but she's perfect for me as a pool player and for a person like me to have.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you found somebody.
Oh yeah. Well, I tried.
Yeah. So now we know how to get it done.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Pretty sure that's how Chris got Shannon too.
We know.
I'm not telling. I want her. I want her in a pool game. Yeah, yeah. All
Okay,
right.
so Chris, do I get to ask the first
I
question?
don't care. It's like I said. It's enough about us. Now it's about Heather and Brutal Game Gear. So take it
All
away.
right, let's do this.
All right, so let's just ask the elephant in the room question. It's about you and Charlie, and now you and Charlie not together. Can you just
Yeah.
give us an update?
So for the people that aren't aware of the whole story, Charlie and I were married for 16 years. We got married very quickly. We met, dated, married, like in the blink of an eye. For about the first 14 years, perfect. We traveled together, worked together, played pool together. We had a good time everywhere we went. Um, Business kind of got in the way. It turned both of us into two different people. He wanted to run business one way, I wanted to run business another way. It kind of affected the marriage. So we decided to walk away while we could still be friends and get along. And the first couple of weeks was a little rough, because it's the whole division of assets and everything that goes on. But once we got past all of that, we're getting along very well. Um, he's actually staying here at the house while he saves up money and decides what he wants to buy an RV and be able to travel around and, do his instructions and things. I set up his hillbilly billiards for him. I built his website for him. I'm doing his apparel printing for him. I mean, Charlie was my best friend, still is, and I don't ever want to see him fail. So I'm going to do whatever I can to help him in his new life and with his new adventures and whatever he wants to do. If he needs help, I'm there to help him with it.
That tells you a lot about Miss Heather. Well, you're known for your character and you've always done the right thing, but I think it just comes natural to you, just to help everyone out. And that Charlie's the same way too. I mean, he'll talk to you for an hour about your grip or your stance, just because he's enjoying himself. So
that's part of how we actually met. He was on a blind date in a bar, and the bar just happened to be by my house. And I was in there playing. I actually knew who he was, thought he was in there about to try and hustle somebody. So I, was lingering around the table, just kind of watching what was going on. He saw a couple of things in my game that he thought needed help. He started talking to me about that, then started telling me about his book. And next thing I knew, we were hanging out together. And in the blink of an eye.
Well, in my experience with Charlie, he doesn't know how to hustle. He,
I didn't know him that well yet.
so
Got zero hustle.
no, no, because he'll tell you how good he is, and then if you call him on it, he'll show you.
Yeah.
Several times I've seen him match up, and it lasts one set, and maybe two.
Yeah.
One set he'll let you win. The next set he runs all over you, and then your opponent's done. So
Yeah.
So
okay, Shannon, you've known Chris longer
Heather.
than I have.
That's
So this isn't on our list, but this is a question about Chris because you've known Chris longer than I have. Give me something funny about him or how you remembered him, and I know you got something.
Well, this is tricky because if there's one thing that most of these players know about me is that I'm really good at keeping secrets. I have a lot of secrets, and some of them are embarrassing, some of them aren't, but I tend to keep them. But I don't really have anything. Chris, when I'm around Chris away from pool,
okay,
he goes out of his way just to make me feel like family. I mean, the last time I got to see him away from a tournament, he and Shannon took Charlie and I to go have breakfast with Shannon's family. That's a big family, and it was a very small table, and we were just about in each other's laps. But it's a rare thing to feel like you're at home when you're on the road, but Chris and his family have always made me feel like I'm at home. They've put me up in their home. They have, visited me at tournaments that he wasn't even playing in. They came out to the, what was that we were at last time? Oklahoma Black Gold.
Yeah.
And they just come out and visit and spend time with us and watch a little bit of matches and then go. And it's that feeling, Chris, when he connects with you on a personal level, it makes you feel like you're family. And everyone that knows me knows I'm big on my friends are my family. Yeah. So he and Shannon have been very good to me over the years. So all those other stories those are secrets. I'm going to keep those.
I'll get them later. Don't worry.
There's no bad ones for sure, but I know that when I was doing the All-Star or the Southwest 10 ball tour,
I forgot about that story.
And this is when you met Shannon. So we go down to Skinny Bob's, and it's on Charlie's birthday, and Charlie's playing in the tournament. And Charlie gets shit-faced drunk.
Oh, my God.
The guy that he's playing, he's given lessons to during the match. And he gives him just enough lessons that Charlie gets his ass beat.
While he's using the table to stand up.
Yeah. 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 And that's when Heather met Charlie and Heather. Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that was Shannon's first experience with us, but that was a funny one.
Yeah. And Charlie and my dad, they become real good friends too. I mean,
yeah,
they had a lot.
We've actually stayed with them before too.
Yeah.
And your mom made me the best fried pork chops I have ever had in my life.
She could cook. She could cook.
I think I've stayed with
a fried pork chop.
Huh?
That might be the only way a pork chop's good.
Oh man,
gravy and fried.
But nowadays, everybody wants to try and find ways to make it healthy. Oh, not her. She said, no, this is bad for you. And it's bad for you, but it tastes amazing. It was so good.
Yeah, it is.
All right, first question. How did Brutal Game Gear start?
So there's a lot of theories about this, and different people have claimed credit for where I got the name Brutal. We actually had another clothing line. It was called 88 Apparel, and it was all just novelty shirts, different sayings and things, kind of like the one you're wearing. That's actually a carryover from that old line. And everybody kept asking me if I had a branded line, just something simple. They kept referring to Hustlin'. Hustlin's a branded line. It just had, the logo on polos, t-shirts, hoodies, whatnot. So I was trying to come up with something that kind of embodied pool. And then I got to thinking about it and I said, I don't want to be trapped in just pool. I want to be able to cover a lot of sports. So I kept hearing the word brutal all the time. And I had a list of words and I don't even remember what all was on that list. But at the time, we were running in the same circles with Chip Compton and Joey Gray, and they said it all the time, all the time. So I settled on brutal. We made our first line. I got the Chip and Joey to be our first player reps, and they loved it. Everyone else loved it. And, it was after the fact that I kind of put together the whole meaning behind brutal and how it describes that journey that you go on from being a beginner to training to getting to the point where you're good, and then you're good and everybody else is coming after you. The whole journey is brutal, but it's something that anyone who competes at sports would never give up, never trade in for anything else. It's an amazing feeling, no matter how hard and how brutal it gets.
Right.
Well, you have the right game gear for whatever your game is, no matter how brutal it is. So
Yeah.
I want to show this shirt. You didn't have it in my size this year, but you actually made it and sent it to me. I want somebody to read this. Well, first, you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah, it says caution may cause captivation, envy, astonishment, jealousy, resentment, and the occasional damn. Did you see that shot? How many times have you heard that in pool?
A lot. So,
well,
go ahead.
I've got a few designs that I probably wear at one of your shirts at least once a week. The t-shirts are so comfortable. They're that, what we name the type of material?
It's called tri-blend. It's a tri-blend.
Okay. She'll make you a hat to match.
Yeah.
Whatever you need.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to, when I first started Brutal, I actually went through thousands of dollars worth of samples, and I would print on them, wash them in hot water, dry them, and repeat the cycle over and over and over again. What I was looking for was something that didn't shrink, because it had been my experience in the past. I'd go to a pool tournament, I'd buy a souvenir shirt or something from one of the vendors, go home, wash it one time, and it is now a crop top. There's nothing worse than spending $20-$30 on a t-shirt and you can only wear it one time.
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted comfort. When we first came out with those, we called them the OMG shirts, because everyone that touched that tri-blend went, oh my God, that's so soft. And they would buy them in every color.
So Eileen steals my brutal shirts and wears them around the house because they're comfortable. They're all the same soft material.
Yeah. As I talk to event vendors or event coordinators all the time, they say, yeah, we sell shirts, but they only wear them one time, then we never see them again. I said, that's because you're printing them on junk shirts. If you print them on a tri-blend shirt that people love to wear, they're going to wear it all the time. That was a conversation I actually had with the old owners of Skinny Bobs about the Texas Open shirts. When they switched to the tri-blends, walk in Skinny Bobs any day of the week, and there's at least a dozen of those shirts walking around, and they're old. These shirts are probably 5-6 years old, and they're still wearing them around.
Okay, Chris, what's your we got about 5 questions each for you, Chris.
Yeah, I sent them to her to prep them. I sent her some that were AI generated and they were junk questions. So, what's been your biggest seller?
Obviously, the tri-blend t-shirts. For a long time, I went with affordable. That was my big thing, is just to make sure that everybody could afford it. And then people started asking me for things that were a little less affordable. So I came out with the premium line. I've got some pants in there. One of my customers actually nicknamed them the buffet pants. They're the circuit pants. If you go on the website and search it, these things, they've got that always stretch that you see in the commercials for I think Lululemon does them, and Fabletics. They're that always stretch. No matter which way you pull it, they have a stretch to them. And I mean, they are amazing. We sell a lot of those, but the tri-blend t-shirts are our biggest sellers.
I would love to see y'all's clothing in golf shops. I think I know that they'll work. The slogan is good for every sport. It's even good for just overall life in general. But I think in golf, as comfortable as they are, I think I think in a golf shop they would sell just as good as they do for pool.
Yeah. Well, I have a golf instructor, Danny, that we sponsor. Um, I'm gonna sit down with him and put together some items that are actually gonna go into like a golf line. I have, I think, six saying shirt designs that are golf oriented. We even have the medallion logo that has the golf ball in the center of it. All of those should be on the site probably in the next 3 weeks or so. The construction on this shop has really slowed a lot of things down because I'm having to stop what I'm doing to run out there and work on the shop, and it's hot. So that, kind of wipes you out for a couple hours a day. You got to go take a cold shower and just recover from that. But the golf line will be out hopefully before the end of September.
That's great.
Okay, next question. What's your favorite event to set up at?
Derby.
Okay.
The best tournament is Derby. I love that tournament. It is a week and a half. I the spot that I'm in, for anyone that hasn't been to Derby, all of the vendors now go into this long hallway in between the event center and the hotel. I kind of was a late start at Derby compared to some of the other vendors, so I ended up all the way down in the hallway towards the hotel. Well, in the beginning, that was almost a punishment because I was nowhere near the tournament floor. Well, now, after the big, what do they call it, a polar vortex or whatever it was that they had at Derby that one year where everybody got frozen in. Now, most of the people that come stay on site. So I'm the first booth from the hotel. I cannot tell you how many people come into that booth needing to get dressed for the day. They don't even bring clothes for the full trip. They just run down, stop in my booth, grab pants and a shirt, and go back upstairs. I sell more morning clothes than I do evening.
Yeah. Nothing like a fresh t-shirt.
Yeah. But now they've moved all those vendors in there, and I'm actually in a part of the hallway where they have the moving escalators, the moving sidewalks. I'm actually in the middle, so I have a big open space where everybody else is kind of tucked behind those rails. I love my spot at Derby, and I will never miss another event.
So how do you decide which tournaments to go to?
In the beginning, I just kind of was trying out. There were some that worked, some that didn't. Obviously, the cost has to be a big thing that you have to consider. Derby's an expensive event, but I make a lot of money at it, so it kind of offsets itself. Texas Open, I stay with friends. I volunteer and help out with their event shirts, even though they have someone else print them. I handle the sales for them, so we've done a trade out with my booth space. My booth is very small at the Texas Open because that's one of the venues that they'll put the players before anything else. So they have as many tables in there as they can get. They will not move them out of the way for vendors. So there's me and James Hanshoe does the queue repair, and both of our spots are very small, and we don't complain because we love being at that event. The event that I have coming up is the ACS Texas State Championships. And they're another one that has taken care of me because I volunteer and help them with things at the event. And that entire ACS crew has kind of become, again, like before, they've become family to me. That's one and it's on my birthday weekend. So I never miss that one. The rest of them, we've kind of shuffled around. I do some with Jacob Watson out there in Shreveport at Side Pocket. He runs a great event. We do really well at that one every year. I know he's going to be making some changes to his tour. Iron City, I've set up at Iron City before. I think I'm about to go back out there and do a little bit. Of course, anything at Big Time because it's in my backyard here in Houston.
Okay.
But the rest of them, I kind of shuffle them out, and I never know until I go set up at one if it's going to be a good one or not.
Okay. Let's see. Are there any new products in the works that you can share with us?
Yes.
Do
it. So aside from the golf line, I'm actually working on some things targeted towards gamers. We have a big following with the gamers. So I'm working on some things with them. I am working out some a new line targeted towards the military. Anyone that's had a private conversation knows I come from a military family. Um, I recently set up a new factory for our jerseys, and in the negotiations with this factory, they've told me about a lot of new things that they're working on doing. So, if I have um, my pro player Blaine Barkis, his wife does skeet shooting. She's competition skeet shooter, and they wear a shooting vest that I cannot find anywhere. So my factory, I'm talking to them about manufacturing sports specific clothing for sports like that, where I can't get it from a regular manufacturer. So we're still trying to figure out what all he can and can't make. I'm thinking maybe something towards like the vests that they wear in straight pool. Those are kind of a pain in the butt to find, and they're all the same. And that's not brutal style. I like customized. I like, if I sell 100 t-shirts, I want all 100 of them to look different. So, if I can bring in these other products that are all the same and make them customizable, I'm going to do that. I'm talking to, John Barton is working with me on some cases for other sports, because everybody knows John Barton and JB Cases. Whether you like him or you like his cases, the guy makes an amazing product. And I'm working with him on cases for other sports. Right now, he's got some samples for shuffleboard cases for their weights. And I'm going to talk to him about doing some cases for some other things. So that'll be a brutal line that comes out. I'm going into manufacturing on certain billiard products. We're going to bring the rubber grips back that John Barton hates so much. And just a couple of other things that are going to be, brutal line, but they're not just apparel. We're branching out from just apparel into equipment. That we've had the gloves. We're going to come out with some more different things like that.
Okay. Thank you for telling us about that. Chris,
so where do you get your inspiration for your designs?
So I like to, I'm not one of those people that likes to shuffle customers in and out of my booth. I like to carry on conversations with people. I want to get to know them. I want to know what inspires them. And then I take those ideas over to the product line. I go through hours of imaging online and just looking and getting inspiration. My new printers that I've just invested in will allow me to do higher resolution graphics. And so some of the artwork that I've been working on is very like, a lot of people, they're inspired by certain animals. Wolves and lions are huge to, especially pool players. If there's something about them that they associate with. So I've been going through some artwork to put those on shirts. And I get those ideas just from talking to people.
From your customers?
Huh?
From your customers?
Yes, my customers
you treat like your friends.
Yeah. And, and it's not just the designs, it's the colors. I have several customers that they're big into tennis shoes. I'm an Adidas fan. I buy way more tennis shoes than I should. But the problem with the way new tennis shoes are, they use these crazy elaborate color schemes, and then you can't find a shirt to match. So they'll send me the pictures of these shoes, and then I will print shirts or design hats or jackets or whatever to match these shoes. So now they have something to wear with it. And then if it's a colored scheme that I really like, I'll actually take that over and make jerseys out of it. Because everybody likes those bright colors, the contrasting, even if it's a dark color to bright color, people like those, there's science behind that. They pay scientists a big money to go through and figure out which colors look good together, which ones, stir feelings. Everyone knows I'm a big horror movie fan. And when they made Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger's shirt was based on science. Red and green are offensive to the eye when you put them next to each other, which is funny because those are Christmas colors. But there was a whole scientific study behind it. So when Nike, who actually does the research on this stuff, puts out a color scheme on a shoe, it's a color scheme I'm going to consider for my apparel. And I can take it over. These jerseys now print in very, very vibrant colors.
Ah,
Uh-huh.
I mean, let them spend the 500 million on
That
research.
is right. I will piggyback somebody else's research all day long. I am not ashamed.
So they used to have
Okay.
this not Reebok used to have this shoe called it's called the Reebok Blast.
Huh?
And what it was white on one side with a black splash coming from the heel coming forward a little ways. And on the opposite side of the shoe, it was just opposite. It was black with the white splash. So I had a Chevy Blazer that I painted the same way. The coolest thing. I only had it for 3 or 4 months and sold it, but that's where I got my inspiration, was from that
Yeah.
shoe.
Those colors are paired up together to stir emotions in human beings, and that one stirred something in you, so you carried it over to another part of your life, and we do the same thing with apparel.
All right, Heather, I got a really good question. So easy, and it might be a lot of players, I'm not sure, but how many players do you sponsor? Well, who are the players that you currently sponsor?
Oh my God. All right, so I can't go down the list because I can't. My brain doesn't focus like that enough to recall them all right here in front of you. But I know, like most companies, they'll try to snatch up like the top players in their sport. I went down that road. Um, the bigger the player, the less they feel like they need to post. And we live in a social media age. Social media will make or break a company if you do your promotions right. The best people in the world at social media promotions are amateurs. So I sponsor a lot of amateurs. Um, Jeremy and Christy Diggs are two of my players out in Lubbock, and they actually started their own page where they are just constantly sharing Brutal products. Every time I send a sale or whatever, they promote nonstop, and they never ask for anything. They just wait for me to send whatever I'm going to send. They don't ask for anything. Um, Melissa Smith is another one. She's been with me for a long time. She wears Brutal everywhere, to sleep in, to play in, to relax in. She doesn't care. She wears it. The only time she doesn't wear Brutal is when she's working the Davini booth. And then some of her stuff has Brutal and Davini, but she's got to wear her Davini stuff too. And it's not just pool. I said I sponsor Blaine's wife, Michelle. She does shooting. I have golfers. I have 2 shuffleboard players. I have sent product to gamers that do the online streams and whatnot. I can't give their real names. They like to stay. Those guys they're kind of weird, but they like their screen names, so we'll leave them out of the loop. But
Can you give us their handle?
Well, we're in the middle of renegotiating contracts right now, so I don't want to. If we decide not to move forward and I switch to someone else, I don't want to go all that. But I and it's player sponsorship's a weird thing. It varies from player to player. I personally do not pay out cash. Their promo codes earn them commissions when they're used online. They are allowed to work my booth for commissions. Like if I'm set up in an event and they're there, a lot of people have noticed my players work my booth. I've done all the hard work. All they have to do is key in the sales, and they're making money off of them. Christy and Jeremy Diggs make quite a bit of money off me doing that. Melissa has made a lot of money off me over the years doing that. We are in the middle of designing. Each one of my players is going to get a jersey design. Every time one of those is sold online, that player will make a portion of the proceeds from that jersey will go to them.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm putting together some promotional things for the booth to help raise the money for the juniors, because with them, there's laws against child labor and all that other wish-wash. I teach them sales. We won't call it work. They come in and they learn about sales and business in the booth, but I don't let them physically work. So we have other ways of earning money for them to go, to give them expense money to go to the events, because the juniors, that's a little expensive. It's not just them. You go on the road, it's just you. They go on the road, it's them and a parent.
Yep.
So it's double the expenses.
Sometimes I need to bring a parent with me just to make sure
supervision.
Right.
You do need supervision sometimes, Sean.
All right. Chris, We got time for one more question, two more
Well,
questions.
I know that Heather she's sponsoring our veterans tournament coming up.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, thank
and
you.
I appreciate that. I've also asked her to make you a jersey for Derby. It's a fooling
All right.
around show / brutal game gear
I love it.
jersey.
Yeah, the artwork's in being. I have the artwork. Chris sent me the artwork, and now I'm just trying to narrow down the designs that I want to put behind it on the shirt. So it'll be ready soon, and I'll send you a picture of it.
I would love for her to be here for the veterans tournament.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try, but like I said, I'm trying to get that shop built out there, and so I can get all this equipment out of my house. You ought to see my house; it just looks like a giant shop.
If you can't come and you want to send stuff, I can find someone here local that would love to run and set.
I'm definitely sending part of that new that new military line that I'm working on is going to come out there for that event.
Awesome. We are going. So this is going to be an annual event, and so all the raffle money that we earn is going to it's a charity called the Silent War Foundation. And it's a local charity that a couple of retired soldiers or veterans started that helps veterans and families with issues that maybe just a regular person doesn't see. Like soldiers with PTSD. If you go on their website and you look, it says healing wounds that the person don't see.
Yeah.
So that's what we're helping. This is going to be an annual event. Next year, just because it will not affect what goes on at the Texas Open, but it'll either be Labor Day weekend next year, or we'll push it up to Memorial weekend. That way we have that extra day, so we can accommodate more players. So we've got Brutal Game Gear as a sponsor. John Barton is creating us a case with the 4 main military patches are embroidered on there. Fort Worth Billiard Supply sent us a stick to raffle off. So people are they're going to get behind this and help it grow.
We can get someone from the Coast Guard. I bet John puts that on the case too. Well, we don't have one yet.
We don't. And we don't have anybody from the Space Force. Sorry, Heather. Because I know your dad worked for NASA.
Well, several members of my family have. That's where military / space.
Right. I just want to meet someone from the Space Force so I can say I have.
Dodgers.
Well, there's a few players that I can introduce you to that are. Yeah, there's one down here. No, I think she's in Austin. That I'm pretty sure is Space Force that I could introduce you to. But
well,
yeah,
I guess that's just one of the benefits of living in Houston.
Well,
if you are interested in Brutal Game Gear apparel, I'm going to leave the link in the description down below. Sean, have you got anything else you want to add? I know Heather's is a busy lady.
Heather, I've told you this a bunch of times, but now I get to tell it in front of everybody else. You've been such an inspiration to me. You've been so kind to me, shared everything you knew with setting up a booth, and I would even follow you around and set up some other kind of booth just to learn from you guys. So you've always treated me so well, and just thank you so much. I mean, you do so much for the game, and you've personally done a bunch for me, so appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot to me, especially coming from you, because I actually learned from you too back when you were selling for John Barton. I actually used some of your sales techniques from back then. So I learned from you too.
Yep. Well, John Barton is the reason that I got to go on the road. It wasn't because I could play very well at the time, but I went one way everywhere in an RV and set up a booth out every night of the week, selling cases. And that's
kind of what I was talking about with the sponsorships. Amateurs, they're not afraid to get out there and work. My amateur players, they, pardon the language, but they bust ass for me. And they don't ever ask me for anything. They just sit back and wait for whatever I give them. And I try to give them as much as I can. I mean, I'm building a company, but and some of them get a lot and some of them get a little less, but they all help me, and it's people like you that I always look for that are willing to get out there and do the footwork and talk to the people, because Brutal's a people brand. We like to talk to people. We want to get to know our customers.
Well, all right. Well, on that note, Heather, we'll let you go. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for giving us this interview. I always look forward to seeing you. Now I have to see you and Charlie separately, but it is what it is.
We're letting things cool down enough where people are okay seeing us in the same place. Because right now people are still trying to figure out how to act. But here pretty soon you'll be back to seeing us at the same events. It'll just be Charlie and Heather instead of Charlie and Heather.
Right. Well, I'll act the same way. I mean,
yeah,
y'all's both still family, so
yeah.
All right, guys.
And
Yeah, we love you.
Oh, I love you both too.
All right, guys. Appreciate y'all joining the show. If you like content like this, please hit the subscribe button right there below.
Yes.
Hit the thumbs up and leave a comment and let us know how we're doing. And we'll see y'all next time on the Pulling Around Show.
Till next time.
Bless you. I'm leaving it.
Yeah, we're leaving that on.
I'm leaving it.
Bye.
Oh, I gotta wipe it off the screen. No. Oh, he's gone.
I held that as long as I could.